Hey, Tracy here. So today we're going to finish doing Princess Diana's chart. So I pulled up the day she died or the time of death, August 31st, 1997. She died at, they pronounced her dead around 4 o'clock in the morning. Um, and it said that the souls in each incarnation have different exit points, um, plus the final one. In my opinion, I think there's multiple along the way. Then there's one final one where you know, we're we're out no matter what. Um, you know, some people live to 110. Obviously, that's their final exit point. Anyway, looking at what she had going on that day, I would definitely say this was a planned exit point, if not the final exit point for this incarnation for her. Um, you know, she had so much going on. It's hard to know if her, you know, soul wanted to plan a long drawn out life or if it was something that um was planned to be short from the get-go. But looking at the chart the day of, and let me pull up and share, she just had so much going on that I really do believe that she knew, her soul knew. Okay, so what I've got here is the transit and progressions, but it doesn't have some of the faster moving uh, transits. They have those progressions. So I'm going to go here for the day she died. And you can see, because I wanted to point this one out because it's not on the other one, but Mars is on her Neptune in the 10th house. As we've discussed, 10th house is, your most visible, how the world at large sees you. Um, like, for example, when I got married, the sun was on my midheaven. So, you know, it was very visible that I was changing my relationship to the world. I went from being single to being visibly married, and that was the foundation for our natal chart. Um, so it's again how the world at large kind of views you, and um, Mars is there conjunct that Neptune. Um, Mars kind of cuts through, ends things, is aggressive, it's injuries, it's accidents, things like that. And it's in the 10th house, conjunct that Neptune, which is dissolving. So to me, it's a literal manifestation of the dissolving of her um, persona at large. Mars is cutting it off. Um, Neptune is dissolving it. It's really the end. It was, a horribly shocking accident as well, very visible, dissolved the um, notion. Remember, Neptune is like projections and absorbing, so it kind of really shocked us out of, the fairy tale of what we thought her life was. I mean, granted, things had been building for her um, as she kind of came into her own. But this really was like a very visible, shocking accident that ended and severed that, connection to the community and the greater collective at large. And then also, because the other chart doesn't have some of the quicker transits, so I just wanted to point it out on here. And then you've got the Sun um, and Mercury here. Um, and they're actually conjunct that Pluto in the eighth house. And remember, she already has a Sun and Mercury conjunction um, in her natal, so it's kind of a recurrence transit for her. Granted, the Sun and Mercury conjoin a lot, um, but with the eighth house, again, that's sharing resources. The Pluto is like the fear around being seen and sharing herself and editorializing, who she is and sharing that. with people and being vulnerable with people, um, sharing what is hidden. And then the Sun and Mercury are highlighting that. She's able to share, and eighth house is also literal death because again, it's Pluto. Um, so it's in her eighth house of death. Pluto, the ruler of the underworld, it's highlighting him. It's letting him, again, Mercury have the microphone, um, things like that. And then you also have the moon, which is conjunct in Leo, her natal Uranus. So Uranus is, again, the great liberator. Uh, the moon is the great mother, the intuition. Um, so she's being liberated to free and be herself, um, to feel her light, to let her light shine bright, and again, Uranus is just liberation, liberation of the expression of self. Um, I assume, don't know, that her soul felt it had accomplished a lot of what it had accomplished, wanted to come and accomplish in this lifetime. She'd managed to do a lot. Um, so now we're going to kind of take a look at, um, before I go into progressions, I'm going to do, some of the slower moving outer uh, transits that take a little bit longer, so they kind of have time to build up. Um, so Neptune again is on Saturn in the first house. Again, as we've said, Saturn is the 3D, is the in its first house is her identity, who she is. It's the structure of her identity and who she is in this lifetime, what she's built. Neptune is coming on that and dissolving that structure, dissolving that concreteness. Um, it's erasing away what has been built, what is not true, what does not serve her, what is not for her highest and greatest good. Um, then you've got Uranus down here on her chart ruler, um, Jupiter. Um, as we've said, Jupiter is the king of the gods. It can be royalty. It can be greater truth, greater mission, greater religion, something, that we believe is greater, a greater purpose than ourselves. It's optimistic, it's expansive. In the second house, that's our comfort. That's what do we feel that we're worth, um, things like that. So Uranus, again, it's the great liberator. It wants to free her from anything that is binding her to the collective, her identity within the collective, um, into what truly is her truth, and what frees her to, you know that worth, and releases that identity that she holds, you know. And then it's also opposing that Mercury in Leo. So, again, Leo is wanting their light to shine. Mercury is like, well, I want my truth to shine. I want who I am to shine. So it's what, and again, it's the eighth house. So who am I? Am I allowing myself to be vulnerable? Am I allowing myself to be expressive versus what do I feel is the truth that I'm having to pretend that I'm doing for fitting into the collective, fitting in to have a safe space, to feel worthy and accepted. And Mercury is like, are you speaking that and sharing that? And Uranus is like, well, let's free ourselves from anything that's not serving our truth. Um, and then Saturn is on her IC. Our IC is the lowest, darkest part of our chart. It's who we are at the bottom, the core, the most hidden. And when it comes through, it's saying, is the foundation you've built your life on true to you? Is this in an Aries? It's true to your raw individualistic nature. Does it serve your raw freedom, your desire, your expression to live authentically and be here and claim your space. And if Saturn comes on your IC and you're not, it crumbles that foundation and makes you rebuild it. So, is your foundation solid? Um, and while Neptune's being dissolving against Saturn, so they were over here talking. It's like, no, let's we've this foundation does not serve us. We've done what we needed to do. Um, then we've got Venus, which was the skip step in her nodal story. Um, so learning how to play and relate and, express her, desires for pleasure and worthiness and really finding fun and relating to people in that way. Um, so Mars again is in the ninth house of higher purpose and truth. This is her progressed Mars. So you can see her natal Mars is here. Progressed Mars has advanced over here to 23 of Virgo, which puts it into the ninth house, and it's a trine. So it's saying, uh, you know, have we conveyed everything? Is this our higher truth? Were we able to express ourselves in a creative, fun way to serve our body and our pleasures? Did we, you know, were we able to relate to other people um, in a fun, serving, in a fun, um, relational, harmonious way? I mean, I know that's more Libra, but Taurus wants the pleasures and fifth house is again, you know, creativity, self-expression, all that Leo energy because it's tied in with the fifth house. And Mars is saying, okay, you know, let's again, Virgo, we're re-looking, redoing. It looks like we've done everything. We have created this foundation. We've been able to share and express ourselves for our greater truth. And again, Mars is kind of severing that relationship, and it's doing it in a harmonious way because it's a trine. Um, so while her accident was painful and horrific, I think from a soul level, it was very freeing for her soul. And I think there was a lot of thought out planning on a grander scale. Um, and then you've also got her progressed Venus, which is over here on her Mercury in Cancer. It's saying, our actions, our healing, our how we want to nurture other people. Are we being able to communicate that? Are we is our communication with others um, in line with our worth and our values and how we want to respond and care for people? Um, and you can see that she grew a lot in her life to be able to share and really work toward that goal in a way that, the royal family had not previously been able to do, which was part of, her story. Um, so it's really coming over here and helping um, support that identity and say, make sure what she's conveyed, helps heal. And to some extent, you know, her death in her life, obviously, it allowed us all to heal things and look at things in such a different way and realize, you know, there are no fairy tales. You know, it's all, not everybody's supposed to have the same life, all this money and royalty and whatever. it's just again, Venus aesthetics. It's an illusion, that Neptune. It's pretend play. And she was able to help heal some of that and say, look, I've lived this life and it's a cage. It's a burden. Here's who I really am. And she was able to, share some of that rawness of her identity and really honor that soul's path of that North Node in Leo. Um, and she also has her uh, Aquarian moon in down here in the second house, which we've talked about. Um, and it's also trining her progressed moon in the seventh house. So again, her moon and her intuition, her the feminine side, the energy. We all have feminine, masculine energy. It is working harmoniously to say, we've detached so much, but now we can start, you know, moving into a way that we're asking questions and expressing ourselves in different ways. So again, that progressed moon is working in tandem with that natal moon to say, okay, we've served our a greater story. We've been able to um, share with other people um, a higher truth, information, things like that. So just wanted to kind of, I mean, it's just very, she just had a lot going on. And I wanted to kind of share um, a little bit about that. I feel like it's, not my greatest workup of everything, but she just had so much going on. And it really was a story about, I think her soul was just ready to be liberated and free and sever the connection to the 3D world and really merge back with all that is and say, here's what I managed to learn and feel and I was able to move past this detachment and move into something where I'm learning, I learned from other people and they learned from me um and things like that. I really I don't think she was meant to be here in this incarnation very, very, very long. And she was able to just accomplish so much of her soul's mission, I believe, and really, really own that identity. But that's, a 29-degree North Node is going to kind of be like that because you're, being pushed to um, get it done this in this lifetime. So, um, that is all that I have that I'm going to talk about with that. So if you have questions, want clarification, want any more information, let me know. Um, and then, no, I'm trying to stop sure. And then I think next week I'm going to look at doing Michael Jackson's chart, and I think he might be the next one. I want to kind of switch it up with male and female. So, and again, if you have any questions or suggestions, please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.